Technical monitoring system. Baseline setup. Step 5. Create a main weighting structure. The main weighting structure is the tool that makes homogeneous the calculation of the global project progress when the macro phases of the same, for example, engineering, procurement, and construction, are using different weighting parameters that cannot be summarizable between them in order to allow a global hierarchical aggregation. The main weighting structure allows you to input manually percentage of weight value to the higher level, not homogeneous, and at the same time use the parameter that can be summarized homogeneously at lower level in order to automatically calculate the relative percentage weight. TMS provides for the transformation in weighting factor homogeneous for all levels of the main weighting structure. The total value of the weighting factor as a reference is defined by the user and, on the usual, is equal to 100 million points, that is 100 points multiplied by 1 million, but can also be corresponding, for example, to the contract value of the project, for example, 80 million euros. The total of the weighting factor calculated at the lowest level of the main weighting structure will be automatically allocated for each P6 activity in the same proportion of the budget units and the relative weight percentage imposed on or calculated at higher level. In this way, each task will have a value of weighting factor that can be summarized hierarchically up to the project and will allow to calculate any progress transversely, aggregating the task also based on the activity code of P6 imported into TMS. Several methods to create the main weighting structure. Just click on MainOS. The first method is to create the MainOS from scratch. Click on Insert Node. This is the first node at the top. Type A, for example. Type a description, engineering, for example, and click on OK. Click on the node that we have just created. Click again on Insert Node. Flag Insert as a child. Click on Copy Code and add another level code, .10, Civil Engineering. Click on OK. Click on Civil Engineering. Click again on Insert Node. Copy code, add another level, you can type building 1, say OK. Insert node again, copy code, add another one level, foundations, say OK. If you need to insert another element but at the same level, for example at the same level of A.10 civil engineering, don't flag insert as a child, copy code, you can say 20, mechanical engineering, say OK. Insert node, tag as a child, copy code, add code level, for example, turbine, insert node, copy code, boilers, if you like to remove node, like in this case, just click on the node and click on remove. Click on yes. The second method is to click on create, say yes. If you click on OK, the system will create a new main weighting structure, generic but with a number of levels as defined in the project setting, a specific number of items for each level, an alphanumeric starting code, and a skip to be considered between an element and the next. You can describe the total number of nodes generated in order to assess the size of the main weighting structure that you are creating. Theoretically, there is no limit but the number of possible levels, but the limit is the number of nodes that can be generated, maximum 3000. Please note that a main WES with an excessive number of nodes implies an equally heavy effort of coding in P6 cost account. Click on OK. This is the result. The creation of a new main weighting structure involves the complete deletion of an eventual main weighting structure previously created. The next step is to make all the necessary change already described before. The third method is to import from Excel in the manual input summary in the column sum yes or not. Yes means sum the value of the P6 split. Sum equal yes B. Sum the value manually inserted, like in the case of procurement. Sum no equal no does not sum any value. Weighting factor column. The tab weighting factor contains the values of homogeneous weighting factors summarized at each level of the main WES. The total is equal to the imposed value, normally 100 million of points. Tab WES classification code contains code defined in TMS and applicable to the lowest level of the main weighting structure. Using the above classification code, maximum 10, and combining them with the main WES level code, may be obtained additional alternative weighting structure subsequently used for the reporting. The structure of the WES classification code is automatically acquired by the main WES imported, if any, and will be completed later with their description inside TMS. Tab Progress Storage Level. The storage level defines the storing level of the actual progress at each cutoff. In particular, we have two options. WES lowest level indicates that the historicization of actual progress is made at the lowest level of the main weighting structure, or P6 activity level indicates that the storing of actual progress is made at P6 activity level. Tab Spread Data Source. Define the origin of the spread used for the calculation. In particular, for the columns BL1, BL2, forecast early and forecast late, the origin is always P6. For the actual column, we can have the following choice. P6 indicates that the value are calculated accordingly to the spread imported from P6. Custom indicates that the value are acquired, pre-calculated by external systems, and imported as Excel file with the progress value summarized by main WES lowest level. C3 indicates that the actual value are calculated and summarized using C3 module. C3 also indicates that all the activity will be part of a specific work class identified by ad hoc P6 activity code. We strongly recommend that every lowest level of the main weighting structure contains a certain number of P6 activities, and thus to avoid to define P6 cost account with one or very few P6 activity associated. The above will avoid the problem which can occur in the process of the updating, where a deletion of all activities associated with a cost account produces in fact a failure to close to 100% of the overall progress of the project. In the case in which we are anyway in the above situation, we suggest to leave at least one activity with an indication of deleted in the description, and to assign to this activity a fictitious actual progress in line with the expected progress.